Hey guys, this is Stefan. How are you? I am over at one of these lovely sims that I do not have the ability to res, or fortunately I can at least script run, but a lot of scripts you can't, or a lot of sims you can. And I've got my business manager Sammy who's going to play my model today, and I'm going to demonstrate the LumiPro lighting HUD to you guys. This is revision 3.4 of the HUD, and I have done about 7 major revisions to LumiPro, and every owner gets every major revision for free. So if you buy, you can be guaranteed that you'll catch all these major revisions. So I'm going to walk you through the HUD, and we'll go from there. The HUD is here, the LumiPro HUD. And what it allows you to do is, as a photographer, you get to control the lighting of your model. And what you do is you press the Give Lights button and give a set of lights to your model. Sammy's already wearing a set, so I don't need to do that. And we'll walk through it. Now, the reason why you want this, if you look at, for example, I just have some daylight lighting in this place here. Sammy is fairly flat. There's no distinguishing in the lighting between her. Everything is lit equally well, and there's no distinguishing between the foreground and the background. So for example, if I get the position just right, her hair just blends into the background and it kind of gets lost. And a lot of what a photographer does, use an example of a photo in the room here, you can see that there's actually some lighting and shadows, and that actually improves the quality of the photo, and that's what we're going to go do. So the way I'm going to do that, just to show you quickly, is we're going to set the sun position to midnight. The model is wearing the lighting, and then there's 4 quick set buttons to get things started quickly right over in here. And if you press the button, boom, she starts lighting here. Let me show you what this thing is here. LumiPro is a HUD that controls 3 prim on models. It controls up to 6 models simultaneously. One of those models can be yourself. And each model is given one red, green, and blue prim, as well as a light that's sitting in the air right now. And that's this guy right here. And he looks a bit like a theater or projector can that you might see in a photo studio. And this allows you to project lighting. At the moment, I've got this guy turned off, and I'm only just lighting up these 3 balls. The balls have colors red, green, and blue, and the red, green, and blue give you effectively just a designator to keep them straight. If you're an old LumiPro user, you're aware of this menu over in here, and for each of the red, green, and blue, you could adjust the intensity, radius, and follow by doing pop-up menus. So for example, I could, and then white was the sum of red, green, and blue, so it set the command to all 3. So if I did the white intensity and set it to 0, off would go the lights. The new system pops over by pressing this button here, has a set of sliders. Let me demonstrate these sliders to you. I am going to also hit this one more advanced slider here. Let's play with this red light only just for a second. And I'm going to take the intensity of the red light up a little bit. And what you can see is I can just press the slider and I can control how much of this red light kicks on here. I can pick a color for this light. I can pick a fairly crazy color off the color wheel. And one of the cool things that you can do is cyan's very, by the way, a fairly common color, is you can pick the saturation off that cyan. And what you can see is you can see the light is going closer and closer to white until it's all the way at the end here where there's effectively no cyan, and here is just intense amounts of cyan. So you can pick the amount of this thing. I can pick the intensity of this light and make it brighter, or I can make it darker. Within the controls of Second Life. Now the other thing I can do is play with this radius. So if you look at the radius right now, the radius is reporting as 1 meter. Sammy's about 1.5 meters, I think, in height. And so what it says is this light is on her, but it's not spilling in the room. Watch what happens when I kind of increase the radius of this light. You're starting to see that this light is slowly making its way into the room and lighting the background, and I can take this up more and more and more and more. And frankly, what this is here is this is why people hated most face lights here, is because not only did it light the person, but it lit the room. But well, we have control here of the situation, so we can just set the radius down to something. I'm going to let this one ball kind of spill into the room a little bit because I kind of like that. And take it down a little bit, maybe take the radius up. And it also has control of the fall off. I don't know a lot about fall off, but it's the mathematical model of how the light, as it leaves the prim, how it fades down as it goes out into the room. I don't know, I kind of play with this thing for aesthetics until I get something I like here. So what you're seeing is an intensity of 0.5, a radius of 11 meters, a fall off of 0.68, and the color, here's the RGB, and it's a custom color. Another thing I could do is I could pick a color off this color. There's a bunch of colors sitting on in here, and let me give an example of one of these colors here. I'm just going to kind of pick one at will here. We'll pick this color here. This is called Lee Filter 274 Mirror Gold. You want to find out about Lee 74 Mirror Gold? Click on Info, and this will take you over to Lee's website. Produces hard reflections, white backed. This is effectively one of the colors in the Lee color palette here. If you'd like another interesting color in the Lee color palette, let's pick another one like 239. I can just go up into here. I don't have the whole catalog, but I got a lot of it. Let's see if I got this one. 239. Submit. And there we go. Now we're going to this very gray one here, and we can go back to this mirror gold. I like that a little bit better. Pick the amount of mirror gold, and we're offset. Now, problem with this is if I hit hide and click the shutter right now, several things are still wrong. She's in a very static pose, and she's also missing the accent. Let's go deal with this accent light here. So I have a light sitting back in the Rembrandt pose where this light is a little bit behind. I can turn this accent light up here. I can start winding this accent light up a little bit, and you can see we're getting a bit of an accent on her. This position of this light is a little off relative to the shadow of her face. Wherever you click a ball, it moves it. It moves to that location, so I can click over in here. And I'm clicking the front of the ball, so I'm actually pushing this light a little bit forward, and you can see it's actually moving this light around just a little bit to try to give a slightly less. I'm actually going to push it back here so you can see this thing, so we get a slightly harder accent, and you'll see why in a second. All right, third ball is a blue ball. A lot of times I use it to light outfits. The outfit's a little dark in here. A lot of times I stay fairly color neutral when lighting outfits, or else the clothing designer starts getting on my case about it, and I can start lighting this up, get the radius the way I want it. I don't want it to affect the face too much. I want it just to kiss the outfit a little bit, and you can see that I've got that now. Now, a couple more things we could talk about. Let's put her into a better pose. LUMIPro has a pose system, so if you haven't already done so, when you select a pose, it does an animation. I have male poses and female poses. If I click in the middle, it selects both the male and the female. And I'm just going to pick one kind of at random. LUMIPro comes with demo poses. This is one of those demo poses. The expectation is you put your own poses. My personal LUMIPro has about 300 motion captures. Once you've selected the pose, there's actually a pose wheel, and you can just hit next and next and next and walk through your poses that you have here. I'm going to go back to that pose 37. Mine is 37 out of 339. Got a lot of poses in my personal LUMIPro. You can get about 350 in LUMIPro, kind of based on the file size. Okay, next thing let's play with is let's play with that projector. You saw that big metal can looking thing in the room. It's black, so I select it with the black here. And when I turn the intensity of this thing on, turn the alpha off here, it is now going to project a light in the room. Let me click the secret button here, and I'm going to set the projector to a floodlight for a second. And what you see is we're getting a fairly big flood. Now, how do I steer the light? Easy peasy. Go up to this display here. If it's not on the little projector symbol, you put it on here, and now I can just steer this thing and drive it around. So I'm clicking over on the side of this wheel, and you can see the projector's moving around. I can put it down. I can put it up. If you want to watch it move, we can turn, oops, press the wrong button, obviously. Happens when you press the wrong button by accident. You can see the projector is sitting over in here, and as I control it and steer it, the light moves around. And I'm going to pick, you can either click the back of the can or that other button here, but I'll click the back of the can, and I'm going to pick a tight spotlight on her. And what you can see now is now she's got, hide the lights again, she's got now kind of a theatrical spotlight on her. If you notice, it's actually generating a bit of a shadow on her, and it's based on the materials, how reflective the materials are. Certain things reflect the light nicely, but you definitely can see there's a shadow on this thing here. Now what I can do is I can just adjust this light while looking at her and watch it move across her face, and we can go from there. You want to see the impact of the other lights? I'll just go ahead and turn the intensity of the regular lights down here, and now you're only getting the projector, which some people might think is a very cool thing. Or we can turn the facial lights back on while we're doing both here, and you can decide how to mix this together. Alrighty, the last thing we would want to do is maybe get her eyes in a slightly better position here. So what LUMIPro has is also, and this is where the eyeball comes in, is I can steer the eyeballs. Let me show you how I can do this. If I click over here, she's looking at me. Click over here, she clicks away, looking down. Now what's different versus any of these other systems that I've seen is that I actually can graduate 125 graduations up, down, and left, right. And so I can actually get some fairly fine control of the lighting. Obviously not all lighting looks natural and right, or eye positions look natural and right, but you can kind of pick some that you think you like and go from there. Alright, when you get everything just the way you want it, maybe make a quick tune to that one green accent light, and notice the shadow casts a little bit off of it, and I'm going to go ahead and hit click, and that's it. There's LUMIPro. Thanks guys.